Now children, let's move to video number 3. Agitatingly, they went to the king and asked him to punish the prince by banishing him to the forest of Vangagiri. The will of the people eventually prevailed and Vessantara had to go on exile, much to the unwillingness of the king. Before setting out, he obtained the king's consent to hold an almsgiving ceremony called the Gifts of 700 Sattasataka. On the occasion, he gave away 700 pieces of 700 kinds of things to the needy people. When Vessantara took leave of his parents and was preparing to depart, his wife Maddi insisted to accompany him with her children Jali and Kanhajina. They left the palace in a royal chariot drawn by 4 horses. On the way, 4 Brahmins met him and begged for his 4 horses. After giving the 4 horses to the Brahmins, when he began to fasten the girth tightly round his waist to put himself under the yoke and to drag the carriage, there appeared 4 yakhas in the form of red deer. In this picture, the people of Ch-12, they were disturbed and they talked about Vessantara, how he acceded to the Brahmin's request and donated the elephant to them. They put their shoulders under the yoke like well-trained excellent horses and drew his carriage. When Maddi was staring at them with joy and surprise, the Bodhisatta said, "Lo, the influence of the benevolent forest, of the hermitage, that the best of the deer extend hospitality to the forest guests so ardently." The queen, however, remarked, "You may conceal your merits and say so, but I call this to be your influence. Like the laughing lotuses which surpass the beauty of the stars mirrored in the water, exposing so fully to the curious gaze of the radiant moon, with its groping rays for the delightful titillation." In this picture, they took leave of their parents and now they are preparing to depart from their kingdom. In this picture, the 4 Brahmins, they demanded the horses from Vessantara. Word meanings: eventually means finally, banishing means to send someone away out of the country as a punishment, girth, belt, benevolent, kind and helpful, hermitage, a religious place away from the rest of the society, ardently, intense or eager, groping means moving or going, and titillation means stimulate or arouse. The people of Ch-12 were very much disturbed to hear the news that Vessantara donated the gifted elephant Pachaya to the Brahmins of Kalinga. They all went to the king and asked him to punish the prince by sending him to the forest of Vangagiri. The king was unwilling, but the will of the people was accepted, and Vessantara went on exile. Before leaving the palace, he asked king that he wanted to hold an alms-giving ceremony called Gifts of 700 Sattasataka, which means he gave away 700 pieces of 700 kinds of things to the needy people. Maddi and their 2 children also accompanied them, and they all left the kingdom in a royal chariot drawn by 4 horses. On the way, 4 Brahmins asked Vessantara his 4 horses, which he gave at once, and then started to drag the carriage himself. At once there appeared 4 yakhas in the form of red deer, who drew his carriage. Maddi was very much surprised to see all this. Bodhisatta said that it was the kind forest of the hermitage that the deer extend their hospitality to the forest guests so eagerly. To this, Muddy replied to him that he might hide his good deeds and merits and say so, but actually it is his influence that all this happened. Now, children, answer the following questions. Question number 1. Explain Satta Sataka. Question number 2. Who met Vessantara on the way to forest and begged for his 4 horses? Question number 3. You may conceal your merits. Who said this and to whom?